Going crazy, going crazy. You can do this. Welcome to the On-Chain Academy. If you wanna make money, better bet on me. Hey, wanna know about crypto, then come with me. It's On-Chain Academy.
Welcome back to DeFi Live, your weekly pulse check on the crypto and DeFi markets, brought to you by the On-Chain Academy. I'm Rich, and every week right here, we break down what actually matters before you make a move. Here's what's on deck today. Ted's going to walk us through current market conditions, what's driving price action this week, and where the smart money seems to be positioning. Then we'll dig into the Fear and Greed Index, where sentiment sits right now, what that number is really telling us, and why it matters more than most people realize. And to close things out, Ted's going to give you his read on where he sees the market heading over the next 7 days. Not a guarantee, just an informed take based on the data in front of us. As always, this is education, not financial advice. What you do with it is up to you. All right, let's get into it. Ted, take it away.
Great. Thanks, Rich. Welcome back to another DeFi Live together. Hey, Travis, how you doing today?
Fantastic. How are you?
Excellent. I got some things all set up for us for today, and a special guest. Megan will be taking over for a little bit, which I appreciate. Thank you very much. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Here we go, and go into the read mode. There we go. Love that logo, man. Okay, so what's going on this week? A cautious recovery with real adoption underneath. I just love to give the good news. So to me, this is good news. Fear factor it's down by 2 points. We're down to 25, which definitely in the buy zone. So if anybody's buying, it is time. The market's steady. We're looking, Bitcoin's running around 64.6, and Ethereum, which a lot of us use for our pools, sitting at 1625. ETF inflows, BlackRock leading the way with over, combined between them and Fidelity, over 170 million. So as long as money is flowing, rewards are coming our way, which we should be excited about. This is exciting. Stablecoins are becoming a payment infrastructure. Western Union brings stablecoin remittance to Visa network. Remember, even with stablecoins, as stablecoins are being transferred from person to person, company to company, we're making rewards off of this. And Western Union is huge. So very excited to hear about this. Tokenizing equities are finding product market fit. Solana is killing it with $1.545 billion July tokenized equities. I think mainly probably through Robinhood on that. Have you heard anything about that, Travis?
Yeah, there's actually, I was just looking at the token stocks that have come. There's lots of stocks that are being tokenized, and it is huge. Like they're going ahead with it in spite of the Clarity Act not being voted on yet. There's just the adoption is just massive, and the amount of Bitcoin that is being bought on the market is crazy. Like the big buyers are holding, and it's not going anywhere. It's going to be part of the economy. And what they're saying now, and what I've heard, is that because we're trending sideways right now, it's giving everybody a lot of time to get all their ducks in place so that they can actually launch their stocks, tokenized stocks, and have all the stuff in place so that it doesn't fall apart on them when everything goes through.
Oh, exactly. And it's been insane because of this up and down market, but the Bitcoin has been just been stable. I expected a lot more volatility in it, and there's nothing. It's boring as hell, which I really like for the pools because we stay in range.
Absolutely.
BlackRock's building the reserve layer for the digital dollar. Through treasuries, cash reserve products are moving on chain, which Larry's been talking about for a long time, which is going to be huge. What we call these digital dollar layers, RWAs, are real world assets. That's a lot of them are building on Solana and Ethereum again. So when you're picking your pools, keep it in mind, do your own research. XRP, a lot of XRP fans out there, gained a new DeFi borrowing route. They are actually going through Ethereum. Wrapped XRP can serve as collateral on Ethereum. Borrowers can access RL, which is probably the Ripple USD. Do you have any of that, Travis?
I do have a little bit of Ripple.
Do you?
Yeah.
I know there's a few people within the company that loves the XRP, so there's a big army out there of XRP.
Yeah, those guys are the XRP army. I've listened to a few podcasts and they are, man, it's just like the launch of the telephone. They're not backing down for nothing. And they really believe like that big number, that $10,000 XRP is coming. And I'm like, that's a huge variation. And I don't know. I just don't have that much hopium to tie onto that belief. But yeah, it's crazy what they're saying that it's going to do. And the adoption, I mean, it's being used in a lot of different countries. So I get it, but at the same time, I have a little more of a conservative kind of outlook.
Love that about you. Me on the DGEM part, I know we're not traders, but I bought in. I think XRP was around 25 cents. I sold it at the peak, or a little over $3. Now, if I do it, it'll be in a pool or something like that, so I can have steady income because that was just too risky.
Yeah.
I went to
Okay,
Vegas.
what's
XRP.
that?
I got XRP Army hat in Vegas.
There you go. There's a warrior.
Yeah, I don't think 10,000, but yeah.
Okay, big banks are staffing for tokenized finance. Again, RWAs. Citibank, if you know Citi, it's absolutely huge. They're hiring for digital asset client solutions. More people or more companies that keep hiring these digital asset client solutions people and directors and stuff like that, the more of that we know that the word's getting out there and they're getting ready for something, right? It's going to be huge.
Absolutely.
DeFi feels more mature in 2026. A lot of reasons why, because of the tokenized assets. Derivatives are huge. Do you do any of that, Travis?
No.
Yeah, I don't. I haven't touched it yet.
That is a very quick way to say goodbye to your money if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like me sitting at a poker table. I just hand people the money because I know I'm going to lose anyway. So again, because of the stablecoin rails, this is going to be probably the biggest thing in crypto or digital assets, as we like to call them. Stable coins are going to be used. It's like here, Lisa and I were heading off to Europe in September, and I have to get so many different currencies, like for Turkey, and well, you have mainly the euro. If everybody just took one currency, it would have been so easy. And every time I exchange the dollar over for another dollar, it cost me an arm and a leg. If everybody used a stable coin and used a stable coin rails, they'd be getting paid almost immediately. You don't have to use the bank. You can carry it on your phone. There's just so much. I can hardly wait for this. This is exciting news.
And I think the biggest thing I find for me is like when you think about when you start a business, you start with a pile of money, but it sits in your bank account as you know you're going to use it up. You're going to burn it up. There's no way you're going to put it in a bank account, a savings account that's going to generate enough money to do any great things for your business. You're going to get 2%, maybe 3% in a savings account. Whereas you can actually go online and borrow safely against it and lend that all out and actually generate an income for yourself and have it as an asset. And there's quite, I mean, it is something that is really going to change how people view money. And I think that the education like we're doing is super important.
Absolutely. Super important. Actually, that one of my things, it's called the perpetual loan. I use it with Aave. So I put 15 grand in there. Um, I don't have to pay it back necessarily right away or at any particular time whenever I want. And as BTC goes up, that's actually, I think, yeah, it's in ETH. As ETH goes up, that loan comes down. So if ETH skyrockets, I've just paid off my loan and I haven't even paid anything to it yet. So there's a lot of different advantages to actual borrowing and lending through Aave, which we teach in the course, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Next week's macro things to watch out for. Next Wednesday, we got the consumer index US on the 12th. The jobless claims on the third. Oh, it's going to be a good week. 13th, and then the retail sales on the 14th. So, welcome to volatility. So, this is our watch list for the week. ETF flows. Basically, this is actually what has happened with the new stable coins, the Ethereum and the ETF. Just watch the volatility. Say in the correlated pairs, if you need to know what the correlated pairs, reach out to us and we can help you let you know what the correlated pairs are, or Claude's pretty good at that too. Bottom line, cautious pricing action due to the volatility. So things to keep in mind. Oh my goodness. Social media with Megan. Welcome, Megan.
There I am. Hi, guys.
That's a character of you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, is that looks a little bit different than me, but similar.
All right, Megan, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And
Awesome.
I think you've got some things to say.
I do. Okay, so I'm just gonna need a confirmation in a moment
Sure.
that everyone can see my screen. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. All right. So I want to talk a little bit about social media and learning DeFi in the social media age. Something that I do want to say that I think is really important, and we do talk about this a little bit in the course, is you do, and I do talk about it here as well, you do have to be careful with what social media you are consuming. I've actually just been working a little bit on some social media to come out for the DeFi protocol on why Chat GPT and YouTube sometimes they can be helpful, but it's also great to have like a structured program that you're working through as well. So I do just want to put that disclaimer out there that social media can be amazing, but you also have to make sure that you are doing your due diligence and coming from a place of wanting to learn. Does that make sense, everyone?
Absolutely.
100%.
Okay, awesome. So, all right, let's see what I got here. So, I took a few things about what's trending in crypto content, and I think this is really cool for those that want to kind of keep up with what's in the news. I'm sure with you, Travis, and Ted, that this is probably kind of fun stuff with you because you guys are always keeping up on this stuff, right?
Yep, we certainly
Yeah.
are.
Okay, awesome. So I wanted to keep this a little bit more on the simpler side, especially for people that are new to this kind of stuff, as I am also in the newer realm. So something that's trending a little bit right now is crypto framed as everyday money talk. So creators are folding crypto into regular personal finance content. So savings, budgeting, where to put your money, instead of treating it as its own niche, which I think is incredible. The second one here, I really love this. This is quick how I can actually do this tutorials. So we talked about this in our last DeFi live. I had said it was a great content idea. We were thinking about Travis and Ted going up against each other, like starting with a certain amount of money, doing different pools and kind of see who walking through it and see who quote unquote would come out the winner, right? So it's not that this needs to be a competition, but I do think it's as I've written, short screen recorded walkthroughs of one simple step are getting shared and saved the most. So I do think it's really cool because people want to be able to relate. And when they see someone doing something in real time, especially as a beginner, that's going to help you grow your confidence as well. So that would be something that I would personally, as someone that's newer into moving through crypto, would definitely be interested in working with. This is also great too. So we have myth busting and scam call outs. So, quote, this is a red flag, quote, this isn't, quote. So people are getting strong engagement and people want help telling real from hype, which I think is awesome. I know with certain generations, some are good at things, some are bad at others. So it's kind of helpful for everyone to just have that straightforward of understanding, trust this or don't trust this, right? So we also have real people over big promises. So someone sharing their own honest experience is landing better than any post that leads with a guaranteed return. Again, so this kind of speaks to what I was talking about before is we need to come back to remember that of course we can make money, but there's also the opportunity to not make money, or maybe it takes longer than you think. And that is like the relational piece that really helps people connect. Yeah, before I move on to my next slide, does anyone have any comments?
Nope.
No? Okay, cool.
I'm going to say I can't say enough about myth busting and scam callouts. It's super important in a community to share the things that we hear because we all generally look at different things, whether it's on your phone or your computer. So, and the big promises, like we said, 10,000 XRP. if you're putting all your money into XRP, yeah, you might want to think twice.
Yeah,
So,
awesome. Yeah, and one thing I will before I move on from this, I do just really want to say that the walkthroughs, the like showing your screen of what you're doing are probably so helpful for people. And again, the being able to one of the like techniques of social media is being able to relate to your audience. So being able to connect with someone and see what they're doing. And also it's quite inspirational to say, hey, Ted, Travis, they're doing this. If they can do it, so can I, right?
absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So I do want to talk a little bit about the few platforms and what they can be useful for. Again, platforms are great for different stages of learning. And again, we do have to just have that like due diligence in mind of trusting what is actually useful for what purpose versus, what might not be the best place to learn from. So for Instagram, savable breakdowns. So this is good for quick savable breakdowns. This would be like a study card, not the full lesson. So you might kind of go on Instagram, and this could be where you learn just like basic slang terms or just like kind of like an introduction is what I kind of see it as. So I think that would be a great place to go with Instagram. With YouTube, I do think that the long form content in YouTube. So, I mean, again, we have to be careful of who we are trusting. So if you're following someone that has 1 million subscribers versus someone that has 1,000, there's probably some more credibility with someone that has 1 million subscribers, likely. But this is where you're going to get the depth. You're going to get full walkthroughs and creators who show their sources, not just their conclusions. And again, I do think there's opportunity here to learn from YouTube. So yeah, again, be careful who you trust, but it is a good place to learn. Moving on to TikTok. So TikTok is good for first exposure, good for a first plain language intro. So it's a spark, not a source. So verify anything that hooks you. TikTok can be so amazing for learning information. But again, we just have to be kind of aware of like, okay, is this too good to be true? Or is this providing me information? Or is this someone, that's just trying to get me in as a viewer, right? But there's definitely lots of good content on there. And like I said, first plain a good spot for our first plain language, kind of as I said with Instagram is great too.
I
Okay,
like
so
that. I like that it's a spark, not a source.
yes,
That's cool.
exactly. So with X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, when I think of Twitter, I think news, right? So personally for me, I would be like, and I'm sure both of you would probably agree with this, that it's a great place for news. Actually, as I've written here, great for real-time news and asking builders direct questions. But then again, but the loudest voices aren't always the most credible. So, I mean, maybe there's some people that come to mind, but I do think Twitter would be the best place for your news. Any thoughts before I move on?
No, I think that's great.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I did a little thing here, how to learn DeFi without getting burned on social media. So trace every claim back to its source. If a post cites an APR or a stat, check it against the protocol's own docs or a data site before believing it. I think this is really important, this second one here, and this is what the DeFi protocol is all about, is learn the framework before the trade. So understand why a strategy works before trying it. A single tip without context is how mistakes happen. And that could happen on social media where Joe says that, he did this thing and he got $5,000, but just because that happened for him doesn't mean it's going to happen for you, right? So you need to make sure that you have the knowledge first. Something else that's very important is be wary of guaranteed anything. So real DeFi returns are historical, not promised, and treat any post that skips that distinction as a red flag. And then I think this is great too, especially for beginners like me. Practice money you can afford to lose. So small, real transactions teach faster than any thread. Just size them so a mistake is a lesson, not a setback.
So
Um,
true. So true.
yeah. Okay, so I put a few sources in here, but I would be interested to hear from you guys as well. We have the DeFi Llama. So this is this is sources that should be worth trusting. DeFi Llama, I've heard you talk about this before, right, Ted?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It's a good one you like.
It's hard for beginners. What do you think, Travis?
For DeFi Llama?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to go on there and play around a little bit. It's just like anything, you have to kind of explore it a little bit. There's a lot of it's like drinking from a fire hose. That site has so much
Yeah,
information
it is.
on.
Mm,
Well
Like
put.
yeah,
spend time. Don't think you're ever just going to go into something and figure it out in 2 minutes. There's not a chance of that happening. So, and we
totally.
just had this conversation. We got on this call. I spent 3 hours on the phone with MetaMask last night on chat because they don't do phone calls, and we're trying to debug between a PC and a Mac, and
Hmm.
it's the same wallet, same keys, same everything. And man, oh man, it is taking me hours to figure it out. And it's no different than these protocols. To spend 3 hours on DeFi Llama is not a bad idea. Like
Mm,
figure out what's on there, play around like that. That's all I can say. It takes time.
Yeah.
Anything worth doing takes time.
totally.
And it's worth figuring out how to do it. Honestly, if you're gonna, it's all about the education, right?
Yeah. And one thing I will say that I don't like about AI is that it's so hard to talk to a real person these days. Those chat boxes aren't the best.
The thing with AI though, and I'm not an AI real, I'm a very backcountry hiking kind of guy, but I will say this, AI learns your weaknesses faster than you will. And so when
Yes.
it when you're using the same AI all the time, it starts to learn where your weaknesses are and gives you the
Hmm.
information that you need to hear. So
Yes.
I'll give you an example. There's Alibaba is using a ton of AI. They're a major AI company now. The goal of Alibaba is to make money. Well, in the background, their AI secretly started trading crypto to make money to support Alibaba.
Wow.
AI is
That's
super
great.
smart. Like
Yeah.
embracing it is not a bad idea. I mean, that's it's here.
For
So
some things, right?
for some things, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you wait till next week, I'm going to release some information again, as I spoke to earlier here, why, again, doing something like the DeFi protocol, if you look at the last slide or the last point here, a structured program, social gets you curious. A guided curriculum is what turns that curiosity into a real disciplined skill, which is exactly what the DeFi protocol is built for. But just to speak on that, ChatGPT, as you spoke to, like it just it becomes who it thinks you want it to be, and that's not always the right choice. So yeah, next week I'll have a little bit of more information on our socials coming out about that.
Awesome.
Um,
I love the concept or the conversation in regards to AI, because I get a different answer from Claude from Chat to Venice, from
yes.
Venice to Grok. So every AI has its own thinking, and it all comes out with a different answer.
Yes. And I've asked it questions that I've known, and it will give me the completely wrong answer. So sometimes it's just simply not right either, right? With
Right.
factual things. All right. So last two things here. And again, I'd love to hear either Travis and Ted your thoughts. And then I also had a question about podcasts, but protocol docs. So every serious protocol publishes its own documentation. Read it before trusting someone's summary of it. And then Etherscan block explorers see exactly what a contract does and who's actually using it. No post can fake what's on chain. Curious to see if you guys have any other sources worth trusting that you would suggest. And then one thing that I didn't include in here was podcasts. So do you guys have any podcasts that you would recommend?
Yeah, for sure. I always recommend, if there's a token that you like and you want to put it into a pool, you don't know anything about it, just go to you can go to CoinGecko and pull up the white paper. Every single
Mm,
coin has a white paper. It'll tell you everything in regards to that coin.
Yeah.
Um, Also, I love Etherscan. You can always check and double check with Etherscan doesn't lie. You can see how much money somebody has in their wallet. Just use Etherscan. I used to do that with some of the big
wow.
boys. That you can't
Wow.
hide it. Everything is open. So good luck.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, for podcasts, those things that Ted's talking about, I support those as well. That's like CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, all those sites are generally pretty accurate. They're pretty unbiased. As far as podcasts go, like Digital Asset News is one guy I follow. Coach JV is another guy I follow. He's pretty cutting edge. He's in the insurance industry. We were talking a little bit about him last time. Um, there's this is more political for the US. Meet Kevin. He is very much about the job numbers when they come out. This guy is like on cue. He's heavy into real estate. He's a little bit into crypto. And then there's some motivational stuff. I think it's really important to actually listen to some motivation podcasts.
Yeah.
Jay Shetty,
Yeah.
guys like that. I think they're super important to keep your head wrapped around things, right? It's a mental game, you know. When
Hmm.
your stuff is going up and down, when you open your Coinbase and you see a minus and it's red and you're like, oh shit, now I gotta pull it out. No, like I know a lot of people have a 24-hour rule, and I'm like, give it a 48-hour rule. Just forget
Or
about it.
72, yeah, for
Or a
sure.
72. Like there's and that's like when you get into these programs like MaxFi and all these programs that you can set the time, and it's like, yeah, just set it and forget it. Like it's the
Hmm.
swapping back and forth that causes you to lose money. But anyways, listening to other people talk about their things is great because you get to hear the mistakes that they've made and get to see
Mm,
what they're using. And there's a lot of people that kind of go against some of the people that I've listened to. And it's also, like they say, it's good to, I call it know your enemies, but they're not enemies, but it's good to know what other people are doing. And if it's to have both perspectives of it, right? So it's not just a narrow
yeah.
minded, oh, I drink Coke, I would never drink Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
like have a good perspective of both sides of the coin, so to speak.
Yeah,
No
Mm-hmm.
pun
I wish
intended.
the crypto community had a more of an open mind as well. But as far as podcasts for myself, my morning starts with Ivan on Tech. He's amazing. He gives it straight to you. He doesn't no punches pulled there. I love Altcoin Daily is a good one. Crypto Banter. I've been watching Rand when he was on CNBC back in 2016, 15 when he first started. And I think for the last one, but more of a TA thing would be the Crypto Crew University, and I've been watching him from 2016 as well. So those are a couple. I know Diego's got some.
Coach
Care to
Shiv-
share?
Coach Shivy's probably the main one that I follow, but we talked about him. So
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I'll just chime in here quickly. I think mindset is so, so, so important. When I started doing mindset work, I don't know, 6 years ago, that's when my life started changing, just in all aspects, right? Because if you have a belief that crypto's bad or whatever, you're completely blocking yourself off from actually having a good experience with it, right? So I watched listen to Jay Shetty. Lewis Howe's The School of Greatness was one that I've been listening to for a long time. And then I know that we also have a few books that we encourage students to read as well in the DeFi protocol.
absolutely.
Yeah, very
And
important stuff.
mindset's a huge thing for the course. They spend many days working on their mindset because and Travis has said many times, if you don't have the right mindset, you're not going to get through this, and you're not. It's tough enough getting through life itself, but
Yeah.
that's one of the great things that we do teach is mindset.
Yeah. I think that is like one of the core foundations that we need to have. So I love that. I think that's great.
Awesome.
Okay, awesome. And then I just wanted to end us off. We can all stay connected with the DeFi protocol. All of our socials are here: Instagram at the _DeFi protocol, TikTok at the DeFi protocol, X at the DeFi protocol, and then LinkedIn, the DeFi protocol. We also do have a Facebook page, but Facebook has some weird links going on. So I'll find another way to share that one.
All right. So everybody get out there and start liking our things.
Yeah, exactly. All
I
right,
just
thanks,
recently
guys.
reactivated my X account because I stopped using it a long time ago, and I'm like, okay, I guess it's time to start using it again. So
Yeah, good for news for sure,
get
as I
get
said.
reacquainted on it. Yeah, yeah. I think the biggest thing for me is with something like this is just to stay on top of listening to stuff and staying in the news, and it doesn't have to be so serious. I listened to this German podcaster talk about crypto, and he is it's like a comedy show. This guy, and he's so amped up, and I'm just like, holy cow, dude! And it's just pure comedy, but he's right on the spot with like, yeah, oh yeah, it's a buy time, it's a buy time, and the guy he knows his TA, so I'm like, wow, he really turns it
Who
into something fun.
who's that? You
I
remember?
can't remember his name. I'll share it with you next time I it just
Awesome.
popped up. I was trying to find it here and I couldn't find it in my YouTube.
Because I
So
watch a few of those German guys. They're nuts. They're great,
they
but
are.
they
But the
got so
TA is
much
good
energy.
though,
They're doing a lot of Red Bull or something over there, man.
right? Yeah. So yeah, and the mindset thing is super important. I always say like if you can not just make this journey about making money and crypto, but also doing some reading. I have a guy that I'm working with right now. He's a big WFG guy, and I love that I have friends that are in the fiat way of making money, and then I'm doing the crypto way of making money. So we're sharing. He's like, I'm really curious to see our journeys side by side, how they go. And one of the things that I just gave my buddy a copy of the book, The Power of One More by Ed Milet. And
Nice.
I always think like, learn one more thing, just learn one more thing, just learn one more
Mm,
thing, right? And I think it's super important. Like I learned so much last night from 11 o'clock till 2 in the morning on the phone with MetaMask, figuring how to do stuff and thinking, oh my God, did I put my keys into a scam site? And the guy's like, no, you're talking to a Meta guy. Like, this is the site. And technology is great, but this conversation I had with Ted, like, my MacBook has everything the way it's supposed to be on it. All the numbers make sense. And then my PC, whatever update happened months ago, completely has just scrambled my MetaMask on my PC. And I'm like, this is crazy. How do I fix this now? And then when my ledger died, because it's a couple of years old already, and I started putting everything on, and I'm like, okay, why isn't my ledger showing up? And it's time. You have to put time in to figure these things out, right? And like Ted's like, yeah, just go on AI. And AI is pretty smart about these kind of things. So we have some other resources as well. Another organization I know that we're going to tap into that to see if, because it's really cool. And you don't be afraid as well to pay for I pay for outside coaching, you know?
Yeah.
I've done life coaching myself, and I do some men's coaching, and you have to have a mentor, somebody that you can draw from, right? So, and in the process of doing this, we're going to become mentors for other people. So, the mentors, we don't know everything, and it's good to be humble. And I'll tell you, technology is humbling me right now. So,
Yeah, I'll just add in one more thing. I could talk for hours, but completely on the having a coach or a mentor game changer that was really helpful for me, especially with mindset. And then one thing that you said that I thought was really cool when you were talking about these funny German guys is I think it's cool to also diversify where you are taking what kind of like information you are getting out, like outsourcing, like, because having someone that makes it kind of like a fun, lighthearted thing, that's awesome. But then also to have someone who's a little bit more serious. So you're getting different aspects from different people. So I think that can be helpful too.
absolutely.
All right. So that's it, Megan.
That's all for me.
Thank you so very much.
Good job.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'd love to have some of that on every show, actually, if we could.
Yeah.
If you can.
Yeah, well,
I'll leave that up to you.
Maybe we'll have when Rich come in once or twice a week and he can tell us what our theme of the week is. So next week it will be why do the DeFi protocol over ChatGPT and YouTube. So maybe we'll do that.
I love Rich. Bring him on.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a handsome guy.
All right, and upcoming episode again next week. I think on Tuesday. We're going to start our challenge. Travis.
Absolutely.
Great.
All
Game
right.
on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
TNT. It's going to be dynamite. I'll tell you. We'll get her going on.
I'm excited for that.
All right, guys.
Yeah,
I really
fun.
appreciate you. Actually, I would like to try something out just real quick. If everybody's just got a minute, I'm going to share my screen. I can always cut this out. This is just
So, quick question: who is this rich guy?
Who's this rich guy?
Oh, you don't know Rich? You
I've
haven't
never
been
met
on
Rich.
you haven't been on our social media. Go follow.
Oh, that's the Rich you're talking about.
Yeah.
But who is he though?
He's
AI.
yeah. You wouldn't know it.
It's incredible. I'm like,
Yeah.
is that? Yeah.
I showed my mom because he basically takes all the information that we've made and he just helps us put it into a video because we don't have enough time to do that. I mean, I could sit here and record all the content if I had the time. So Rich records the video for me so I don't have to sit there recording, editing, so on and so forth. What was I going to say about him? Yeah, I had something else to say about Rich, but now I can't remember.
He's handsome.
Yeah, he's handsome. Oh, I remember what I was going to say is I showed him to my mom today and I was like, do you think that's a real person? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, he's not.
No.
I was just gonna say on a thing with the on a tech note. Oh, what are you sharing, Ted?
I'm just gonna share something quick. Go ahead.
Yeah, on the tech note, I was listening to an Elon. This is the latest podcast that came out from Elon. I can't remember. He was being interviewed by a firm, and he was talking about having AI or having data centers on the moon. So I don't know if you know, recently SpaceX stock tanked when they crashed a rocket into the moon. I don't think the crash was by accident because he talked about using a cannon to shoot data centers onto the moon without having to use propulsion or fuel. So coincidentally, he just crashed a rocket into the moon, and he was talking about the amount of bandwidth that it takes for a robot to run, and yet because humans are very simple that way, but robots take a lot more. So it's crazy that they're talking about having mining in space. And he said the Starlink 2 that's out there is gonna seem like child's play compared to Starlink 3. So if you can imagine, most satellites that go up are the size of a passenger van. Well, he said now they're putting up 200-ton satellites that are the size of a Greyhound bus. And he said the amount of capacity that is going to happen, and when they launch Starlink 3, he's going to be the Tony Stark of technology, and he is going to put data centers on the moon. You got to think like their biggest problem right now is power and heat. Well, there's no heat issues in space, and they got all the solar power they could possibly imagine. So there's some crazy shit coming down the pipe. Like he's got some stuff happening that I don't think most people are even aware or ready for it. And so to be taking advantage of that, and if you do some homework on who's tied into that, he left some little tips on there on his podcast. I'll share it on the site there. He left some tips on there about the companies that are investing in that technology, and there's going to be some crazy winners that are coming up. Like it's nuts. So
yeah,
and I didn't know that he was so
with NVIDIA.
Yeah, and now he's starting to actually produce his own chips. He's like, there's not enough chip producers in the world, so he's got a new mega whatever coming out that they're going to be producing their own chips. So he's going to he goes, there's nobody that can produce enough chips for him, and he's going to do it himself, and it's going to get crazy. So
he's quite the guy.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the firm, but whoever it was that was hosting it had his mom come on the podcast, and she said, "Oh, they're saying hello and all that stuff," and his mom says, "My kid was a baby or a young boy. I kept telling everybody that he was a genius," and she's like, and they would roll their eyes. And then when he was like 6, he says, "Mom, I'm gonna develop rockets that'll go to the moon," and she rolled her eyes. And now look at him.
Wow.
It's just an evolution. We can all get there, right? So
yeah, I like those stories. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. I'm just going to play this real quick. Let me know how the sound is. I'm really testing this out.
The most important innovations in payments in recent years. Visa and MasterCard are among
super quiet.
Can you hear it now?
Pegged to the US dollar called Open US.
Can hear it.
It's okay. It's a little.
It's really quiet.
Is it? Okay. So I'll work on that. I'm going to
crank it all the way up.
The Bitcoin market could grow
That's
from
cranked.
$300 billion to as much as 1.45.
It sounds like muffled a little bit.
But just
I would
what
say.
is a stablecoin to begin with?
Stablecoins are a form of cryptocurrency that is designed to sort of overcome one of the.
It's so close to being able to be super audible.
Which is that it's far too volatile to be used as a medium of exchange.
They're pegged typically 1-for-1 by the US dollar. So they have a very stable value, hence the name stablecoins. Other types of crypto like Bitcoin are more of an investment vehicle versus stablecoins really are intended to be a payment utility.
I guess if a person turns up their PC,
live on a
you're
network
pretty
that
good.
securely records all transactions. Today, moving through the financial system can take several business days and often involves banks and payment companies that charge hefty fees. Stablecoins, however, offer some clear advantages over traditional payment systems.
Stablecoins can be transacted at a very low cost. You can move funds from New York City to Melbourne, Australia in 3 to 5 seconds at a fraction of a penny.
That has banks, payment companies, and retailers paying attention. For now, stablecoins are most commonly used within crypto markets. If an investor wants to sell their Bitcoin without converting it back into dollars immediately, they might park that money in a stablecoin. This makes it faster and more convenient to trade or buy other cryptocurrencies later on, without the delays that can come with moving funds between the bank and the crypto exchange.
I mean, that was and still is like the primary use case for stablecoins is to essentially trade in crypto markets. The analogy that's been used in the past is that essentially stablecoins are like the casino chips at the crypto casino.
But experts say that stablecoins could become more prevalent very soon.
So there's a lot of build out that's occurring, a lot of infrastructure being put in place. But I think consumers will start to see more exposure to stablecoins as a payment alternative starting in 2027.
So what could that look like? Consumers could soon be holding digital stablecoin wallets to make purchases online and in person. Major companies could also start issuing coins of their own.
I think you'll see potentially some of the very large retailers, such as Amazon and Walmart. Large companies like that today pay presumably billions of dollars in interchange fees, could really shave significant expense off of their operations. They also would hold the reserve deposits backing these stable coins so they could generate yield for those companies. And where I see Amazon and Walmart potentially going if they go down this path is that enabling the consumer to receive a discount if you check out at the Amazon website and use Amazon coin. I'm kind of making that up. And again, I think the belief is that some of the savings then will be passed along to the consumer to create incentives or rewards for shopping at Amazon or shopping at Walmart. That's where I think you'll start to see more mainstream usage and adoption of stablecoins.
And as AI becomes more deeply integrated into commerce, the need for stablecoins could also grow. Jeremy Allaire, CEO of stablecoin issuer Circle, has argued that an economy increasingly powered by AI agents will require digital money that can move at machine speed. But despite all the excitement surrounding the technology, experts also warn that consumers shouldn't view them as safe investments or a replacement for traditional savings accounts.
If you're in the US, there's really not a lot of compelling reasons why stablecoins are better than other similar alternatives, right?
For starters, stablecoins aren't FDIC insured, meaning if something were to go wrong, consumers won't have the same protection as they would typically have when holding money in an FDIC insured bank.
You think that when you give $1 to a financial services firm and they hold that dollar on your behalf, that money ought to be insured by the government up to $250,000 per account. That is not the case with stablecoins. They offer zero insurance.
Holding on to stablecoins also does not generate interest in the traditional sense, despite the fact that they are backed by assets like treasury bills that generate income over time.
That the Genius Act prohibits stablecoin issuers from paying interest or yield. What the industry has done is sort of figured out a clever workaround to that. So you and I could go to a cryptocurrency exchange like Coinbase, for instance, buy USDC on Coinbase, hold it with Coinbase, and Coinbase would pay us what they call a reward, which is functionally equivalent to interest or yield. As you might imagine, the banking industry is not too happy about that arrangement because it's, of course, competition. And they're concerned that stablecoins that offer customers interest or yield would siphon deposits out of the banking system. And of course, deposits are what banks use to make loans to the real economy that generates economic growth. Because the banks are trying to sort of close that, what they call a loophole in that, and the crypto industry is resisting.
There also isn't a guarantee that stablecoin will maintain its peg to the dollar.
So despite the name, there's actually not a single stablecoin that has, over its entire history, maintained its peg. So the largest stablecoin, for instance, Tether, which is headquartered overseas, they're roughly 60-70% of the stablecoin market. There have been doubts and questions swirling around the validity of their reserves for quite some time. And that has led to, at various points, the price of Tether dipping below $1, not by a lot, but it has gone below a few times. But I think that is sort of one of the concerns from a policy standpoint that remains, which is we could have a run, just like we've seen bank runs, if folks start to doubt that there's actually, that they're going to be able to get $1 back for their stablecoin. That could trigger them to panic and sell into the market, which would, only make the situation worse.
Stablecoins may not change the financial system overnight, but with lawmakers, Wall Street, and Silicon Valley all paying attention, they're certainly becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. The real question isn't whether stablecoins are generating buzz, it's whether they can deliver on their promise of revolutionizing payment systems as well.
Awesome. That's what I wanted to show you. So it's
Hey,
good news.
it's actually the volume's actually not that bad.
This almost feels
Yeah.
illegal to know if
Hang
you're a
on,
side sleeper. What
because
I've discovered could save you from a
there we go. Shut that down. All right, I've gone way over time, but thank you all, thank you, Travis. On Sunday, Travis is going to be the host, so I'll be here. But I look forward to all the information that you're gonna give us on Sunday, and then Tuesday will be the start of our little competition.
Yay. I'll miss
Right.
the Sunday one, but I'll catch the replay, and I can't wait for Tuesday.
All right.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you all, and have a great night, and we'll see you again.
Have a good one.
Bye.
And that's a wrap on this week's DeFi Live. Quick recap. We covered where the market stands right now, what the Fear and Greed Index is telling us about sentiment, and Ted's outlook for the week ahead. Remember, everything you heard today is for educational purposes, so always do your own research and make decisions that fit your own risk tolerance. If this kind of weekly breakdown is helpful, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss next week's episode. We'll be back same time, same place, with a fresh read on the markets. And if you want to go deeper than a weekly video, real structure, real curriculum, real community, head over to the On-Chain Academy, the DeFi Protocol at www.thedefiprotocol.com and check out what we've built. Until next week, this is Rich, signing off from DeFi Live. Stay sharp out there.